because we're coming from all the way of sunny Australia. I'm just going to go check that we are live in Facebook and YouTube. So if you can hear me, okay, let me know. Let me just click on this. There we go. Grant cross-posted there live. Oh, there we go. I can hear me, so we should be doing well for sound. Guys, as always, we bring you expert stage hypnotists from around the globe. So sometimes the times differ slightly, but generally always try and stay around this time because it fits in nicely from people from America and from people in the UK, and everyone else can kind of make their own way to where it needs to be. So tonight's guest, he's in the green room. We have managed to get him here. There is no technical issues, touch wood so far. He is at the normal time. And if you have any questions or comments or anything you want to know about there, Richard Cole says, I can see you on Facebook. Fantastic. So if you have any questions for our guest, please do not hesitate to fire those questions away. This is your opportunity to really dig and get those answers from expert stage hypnotists from around the world. I'm very handsy tonight. I don't know what that is. So I'm going to play my usual clip. And then after that, please welcome the one and only Mr. Adrian Knight. He says, as if he forgets where to put his clip. And there he should appear.
There we go.
There he is. He is here. He has made it. He is live. So how are you?
I'm great, Grant. Considering the circumstances, things are good. Yeah.
It's a bit crazy at the moment, isn't it? I'll just have your website pop up at the bottom of the screen there. So guys, please check out Adrian's website. So first things first, thank you for coming on the show. We've kind of we had some trouble getting on this then. I see you on Facebook. I don't know. They're just waffling in the comments as they always do. It's one of the things I love about lives is it's got that same kind of feeling as a show. Whereas you know what it's like. You've got to kind of juggle chainsaws. You're looking around at everything, and just when you get in your stride, you see something in the comment section. You think you've got to jump on it. And last week we had a really crazy person in the comment section calling us demons, Satanists, and then all sorts of stuff. So it really knocked me off my game. Did that. So
yep.
Tell us a bit about you. What was your first experience of stage hypnosis? What kind of got you into the craft?
Okay, no worries. I remember it quite well, Grant. I was 14 years old. I don't know if anyone's aware of Edwin Heath, very famous hypnotist. Yeah, that was the first hypnotist I ever saw in Ireland. He was actually ended up living in Ireland, Edwin Heath. He was really old school. He was very slick and polished. So I went to see him at 14. I was totally blown away by it. And that evening, I should say, I went, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
At the time I thought, as we all did, how does it work? Is it some special gift or power or whatever? And then I remember thinking at that age, at the end of the day, he's just saying words and he's talking to people. So maybe I could learn to do that. And then as a hypnotist in Ireland, was huge in Ireland. Have you ever heard of Barry Sinclair?
Yes.
Yeah, Barry was excellent. He was very slick. So for years it was Edmund Heath, no one else. And then sort of Barry Sinclair then took over where he left off. And Barry had the whole of Ireland to himself for years. And when I was about 18 or 19, I really started looking into it. And I had a great teacher, as in Barry Sinclair. He didn't physically teach me, but it was a great example because his shows were always full. There was always big crowds. It was very, very slick. It was very professional. He always had a sound man with him, lighting, really, really slick show. None of this pub corner thing. And it was always busy. And that was my role model. So it was really good to have a role model like that and Edwin Heath, because the shows were massive and they were big. Now, remember, I'm at this game 35 years. So it's completely different now to what it was then. So when I started out, Grant, there was no such thing as, I wonder, is there going to be a crowd there? So from day one, I was packed out. And then I sort of took over from Barry Sinclair. And then for 20 years, I had the whole of Ireland to myself.
That was nice.
And there was no such thing as a quiet night. It was my first ever show, I remember really well, was a Wednesday night. It was in a place called Katy, which is a little country village here in Ireland, on a Wednesday night, and I was taking the door, this is how I made my living. I'll take the ticket money, you supply the drink at the bar.
Yeah.
And there was 388 people at £5 a head.
Nice.
And that's 35 years ago.
Yeah.
So, and that went on. That was a Wednesday night. Thursday night would have been the same. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I got 20 years of that. And eventually it got me into the big theatres, because in Ireland it's a bit different to the UK, as in you can, if I go to a village in Ireland and there's maybe 6,000 or 8,000 people in that village, and you put up 60 posters around, in those days, lampposts and
yeah.
posted and everything, but everyone knew the Hypnotist was in town. So and there was no Netflix and there was no YouTube, and so the places were packed. It was fantastic, and that went on to about 2006, and then whack! It went from 300-400 people to 50 people. So that's my experience of it so far, anyway. So we had lots and lots of big nights. Really never. I think in 20 years I had 3 no-shows. That's something like
that is good going.
And past from 2006 to about 2000 had maybe 30 no-shows.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think was the change in 2006?
The recession came along. People, it's a combination of a lot of things. Internet, kids didn't go out as much as they used to.
Yeah.
3,000 channels in television instead of 4. Just different. Plus, the recession was the big one. They hadn't the money. I was charging €15 in the shows. So, it was really getting away. I end up doing, like, for example, some of my videos, the Millennium Forum in Derry, London Derry, as we call it here in Ireland. I do 5 nights a week.
Nice.
In that one day, 1,000-seater.
Nice.
And for 20 years, I always sold it out every night. So there was that element of, you could establish yourself as a big name in the big theaters. And there's a way I did that as well. When I started out, I hired the theater. It was a big chance. And I'd struggled to get 200, 300, 400 people perhaps. And then a guy rang me, an agent. He says, "Look, you're doing it all wrong." And I've been doing it for 10 years at this stage. I goes, "What do you mean?" "You need to take it on for 4 or 5 nights." And I went, "I can't even fill it for 1 night." He goes, "No, this is what you do, right?" And this is, don't know if it's nowadays if it's the way to go, but in those days it worked. He said, "How many does the theater hold?" And I said, "It holds 1,000 people." He goes, "Right, give out 2,000 free tickets for the first night."
Yeah.
He goes, "Yep." He goes, "Give out 2,000 free tickets for the first night, 2,000 free tickets for the second night, 2,000 half-price tickets for the third night, and the last 2 nights charge the full price." And I thought he was crazy, but I said, "You know what, I'll try it." The first night, because we gave out so many free tickets, everyone was talking about the show. And then people were saying, "Oh, I got a free ticket. Well, where did you get those?" "I don't know, but it's half price in anyway. It's 2 for the price of 1 the first night." So they're buying tickets at $5 or something. So the first night we'd maybe sold 300 or 400 tickets anyway. But there was so many people turned away in the first night. So the talk got out. "Oh, that show was sold out. It's packed out." And then we had done a show for 1,000 people. So that was the advertising. Second night, the same thing happened. And the third, fourth, and fifth night sold out, full price tickets. It was brilliant. And we did that for 20 years.
Yeah. I must admit,
last year was the do it.
Yeah, it's a great point that you said there about kind of that social proof of the best way to get bums on seats is to put bums on seats.
Yeah.
People see that show and then they go, "Oh, it must be good," and then they buy tickets to come and see it. So I think it was Anthony Gaylor that said the best way to be a $10,000 speaker is to do a venue where you look like a $10,000 speaker. And so so I know when I started kind of forewarning my own stuff, I do a thing with a company called Tickets for Troops, which is free tickets for military and personnel. And that's a great way of doing the same sort of thing. And you get a bit of publicity on the back of it as well. So that's also a good little trip. So how was the transition from going from kind of, a gigging, jobbing hypnotist to theatres to cruise ships? How was that transition? Because I'm a big believer in, and even though I do a cross section of all those, I'm a big believer in stage hypnosis needs to be on stages, better on a big stage, performed well. In the back room of a pub, not that there's anything wrong with that, it's a different type of entertainment, but it doesn't have the same impact as when it stood on stage. So tell me about that. What lessons have you learned along the way for that?
After about 3 to 4 months when I started off, I discovered you know what, this is a stage show. It's not a, as you said, stage show, whatever. And what I did then was I moved to the hotel industry instead of lounge bars.
Yeah.
I always went to hotels where they gave you the room. Again, I always took the door. I never asked for a fee. Very rarely asked for a fee. But there was more money to be made that way. We're getting huge crowds. And it was always a nice minimum 3-star, mostly 4-star hotels. And then hiring theatres. And when I made my name in the Millennium Forum in Derry, then the other theatres wanted me.
Yeah.
When I say they wanted me, they took me, so to say. The other thing about Ireland was, Grant, compared to the UK, we didn't have to get a license for every show.
Yeah.
So I could have literally booked a show on Monday and did it on Friday.
Yeah.
Didn't have to apply for it. So we're constantly working. I mean, I was doing 4 or 5 gigs a week for 20 years, you know.
And that helps you polish your show. How have audiences changed in that time? I mean, I know I say a short time I've been doing it, but in the time I've been doing it, what audiences' expectations of what they think is funny, whereas in the olden days, it was let's have people doing extreme stuff or rude stuff, whereas now it's I think people are more interested in the psychology. How is that with you and your experience?
Well, I never ever have cursed on the stage. I've never used a language. Yes, people it's not funny if I do it, but it's funny if the person on stage says it, right? I've never done an X-rated show ever. Just comfortable doing it. I've pushed, don't get me wrong, I'm not squeaky clean or whatever. But I found out that the chicken laying a square egg gets more laughs than some fancy new routine you brought up. The old classics still get the best laughs. I then invented, I claim that I have invented a few routines of my own, which I know, but no one ever told me. I know it did them first, in my opinion. Obviously, they've been fucking copied 1,000 times, but the one that really gets the big laugh is the one I do. When I look back at what I used to do and some of the things I would have said, you just wouldn't get it nowadays. Someone's shout. I'm not going to offend anyone, but I used to do a routine where someone would get up and say, "I'm a raven poofter." Nowadays that's just. I mean, I did that in the Millennium Forum for 10 years, right? And only in the last 2 to 3 years, there's one night we get 17 complaints about it. So I just cut it. Just this change. You got to be careful what you say nowadays.
Yeah, entertainment is, and again, like I said, it's the last couple of years, last maybe 3 or 4 years, where that whole. And don't get me wrong, it's good that we are progressive and all that thing, but it's weird how PC is really moving into the language that we use on stage and how we phrase things. And I hope that it finds a balance somewhere where people can still express themselves as performers without losing that. But if we can not be racist, sexist, homophobic, and do that in a way that's still funny and still good, then that's great. But yeah, it can. I think we have a lot of people that are professional offendees. People are looking for reasons to complain. People are looking for reasons to kick off. So
that's the time I'm doing. I mean, I certainly didn't want to be offensive to anyone. I'm the most open person you'll meet. Obviously, we're in this business, but when I look back on it now, oh Jesus, I could cringe to myself. Some of the things that you would have said, but at least you live and learn. You imagine going on a cruise ship, coming out with stuff like that. It wouldn't happen, So
I did the ping-pong routine, which is just, I give the suggestion that this person's going to say ping, that person's going to say pong. And it's completely non-offensive in any way, shape or form. There is nothing wrong with that. It's just funny to see one person going ping, and then that triggers the next person to go pong. It's not original. It's just funny. Yeah. However, I think it might have been on Celebrity. One of the crew had volunteered who was of Asian descent and was next to one of these people. And I remember one of the subjects just popped up, looked straight at this particular person and went, I'm not even going to try and do the accent because I'll probably get in trouble, but did ping pong in an obviously stereotypical Asian Chinese accent whilst looking directly at this person. And at that moment, I was just like, I was horrified because it was just like, from nowhere came this really racist skit. So literally that was cut from the show and will never return.
One of my main routines was, say, for example, the rotten smell, which we all do. The person beside you smells horrible or whatever. But when I touch you on the shoulder, you'll find you can only speak Chinese and you're going to give up to this person. It used to be, and now afraid to do it in case you're offending someone in the audience. It's just, you know, it's a changed times. It's changed times.
I changed the wording on that slightly. So you'll speak your version of a very strange, made-up, exotic language. The word exotic implies that, and a lot of times you get a very similar accent from a made-up language without the casual racism.
or a language you perceive to be foreign.
Exactly. So, but yeah, you got to be so careful. And we're on stage, and everybody has mobile phones, smartphones. Everybody's a reporter now, so you've always got to have your best face forward. Speaking of best face forward, and we all have one. That show where everything went wrong, it was horrific. The audience went wrong, everything went wrong, but you learned so much from it. What was your show, if you can remember back?
I'm going to tell you something, Grant, and a lot of people are probably think I'm talking crap here. I have never had a show where I never got anyone hypnotized, ever.
Yeah.
Ever in my life, right? The worst show I ever had, I ended up with 3 people on stage, and there was 40 people in the audience, and a room that held about 1,000. And we got 3 people hypnotized, but they were completely useless. You know, they just not there. They just sat there. There was no atmosphere and everything. Hey, there's a rotten smell, and someone said they get to go. Or that was as much to be acting. I'm standing there cringing. That wasn't a place local to me, actually. But 3 was the worst I've ever had. I ended up with 3 people. Now, I know people, you've bound to have a show where it didn't work. Never in my life, honestly. Yeah. The most nervous I've ever been was the first cruise I ever done, because it was totally unknown. You know, it's an older audience.
Yeah.
And I remember walking out, and it was on Norwegian Cruise Line, actually. And of all nights, they announced that they were missing.
Speaking of Norwegian, Brenda Kay just says it's a great twist on a funny accent. Brenda Kay, I'm sure you know Brenda. Brenda is a Norwegian Cruise Line hypnotist as well. So she's fantastic, is Brenda. And Brian Glenn also says he used the Martian language as a way of getting around that. And Jason Louis Morgan from Wales just says, good evening, what's occurring? So yeah, your Norwegian Cruise Lines, most nervous.
Norwegian, and we went to Petra, Jordan. And everyone was saying, God, I wonder who's going to be on tonight, the night of Petra, because everyone's tired and it's all old people. And there was about 40 people in the theater. It was awful, right? And most of them were foreign, as in they were from Chinese. So when I walked out on stage, it was they're all sleeping and everything. It was just, it was tough. So I started making, remember, I go, look, you know, I'm a great hypnotist. Half the audience are sleeping already. And so we ended up where we got 5 people on stage, and, you know, on a big cruise ship and a big stage. It was tough going. And you're asking me about one of the hardest shows. So I got the first person up. Hello, what's your name? Me no speak English. Right. Second person didn't speak English. The third person was interpreting for the 2 who didn't speak English. And then we had 2 people from the UK, and we ended up, we got everyone out, but the Chinese people, as they were, didn't understand what I was saying. And I just got them, we got the routine of counting sheep, you know, and every so often just go and they go 256, 257. And I got big laughs. And the other 2 people from the UK were brilliant. So, you know, on a cruise, you have 45 minutes. So when you've only 2 volunteers, you can make the most out of it in 45 minutes. But it was a tough gig. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the biggest transitions for me on cruise ships was 45 minutes, like do a show for 45 minutes, and not just do a show, do a polished show, make it work. You know, that's a tight schedule as well.
I started doing cruise ships 4 years ago, Grant, because I never looked into them. I just did, and I went on a family holiday and I saw Chris Gress. I know you and Chris are friendly.
Chris is, you know, Chris is one of the guys that kind of helped mold me. I say helped mold me. That sounds a bit weird. But great guys, Chris, and he is the king of cruise ships.
Yeah, he's been there for years. Yeah. So last year, I mean, I did 17 cruises with celebrity before COVID. I was really getting into celebrity, really busy with them. They had me going all, and I'd really polished the show. I had it perfected. I had lovely graphics, sound effects, everything, and then COVID struck, you know, and I was enjoying it, you know, Yeah. So I had 11 shows booked for 2019 with celebrity all cancelled, or 2020, all cancelled, you know. So I don't know how we are going to get back on the cruises, because I don't think we're going to be at the top of the list for entertainment.
Yeah.
An audience show. I hope I'm wrong, you know.
I mean, a few of the people in the comments that, work cruise ships as well.
Mm.
What we're doing now for COVID, cruise ships were that clean beforehand anyway. You change decks, there's the washy people. There was a lot of that in place already. So I believe cruise ships are probably one of the safest places. It's that when you're in an enclosed tube as such, there's nowhere to go. So yeah, it's
my show was very hands-on, people hugging and it gets laughs, gets the fun going. So I'm going to have to rethink it, I suppose, which I have done. I mean, I've done 2 shows during COVID, 2 weddings in Ireland. Not the same. It's just you're very uncomfortable and you're afraid of touching someone, and it's just not as relaxed,
Yeah, I've done one show, October Halloween show, and the booker was insistent that it would happen, and with everything in place, the PPE, the social distancing, I got through the show, but I didn't deliver a show that I was happy to deliver. Yeah. And for me, I don't want people putting video clips or photos online of that type of show, because it doesn't represent what I do. So I would sooner sit back and wait for things to get somewhere nearly back to normal. We had Andy Venning from Australia on last week, and it was really reassuring to hear that he's back at 80% of where he was kind of before COVID. So it's nice to know that on the other side of this, things are getting back to normal. So yeah, so that's hopefully a good sign.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I sort of I'm at an age now where I was kind of going to retire soon anyway. I was just going to do cruises that I chose to do, maybe 5 or 6 a year, just as a nice. But it came a little bit sooner than I thought. So whether I'm going to go back into, I mean, I was doing 200 shows a year easily. Weddings are massive in Ireland here,
Yeah.
I have a lot of weddings rebooked into 2021, 22 again. I will honor them all. Cruises, I mean, there's nothing on the pipeline at the moment. I'm getting emails saying, would you be prepared to not do shore leave? And I'm going, no.
Yes.
So I'm not taking on something unless I'm going to enjoy it, So
When you mentioned about weddings, I mean, the wedding market is, I mean, it's not as busy here in the UK, but it's a good market for me. What I found was 2019, there was less weddings because couples were waiting for 2020 to get married because they wanted that kind of the date 2020. And then 2020, all those brides that were waiting, which was a record year from all the venues I work with, were all saying it was a record year. They've all been moved on to 2021, and then the first half of 21 has gone. So they're all moved on to the latter half and to 2022, 2023. And so there's lots of dates now. There's lots of entertainment being moved around. There's lots of bookings happening, which is crazy. But like you, I'm reluctant to take on some dates because if you're locking dates out of your diary, you could be turning something else down. I've got a question here as well. She says, working on ships was a great gig. I'm not sure it will ever be the same. It's going to be definitely a different world going back. But as we know, there's not many shows out there as unique as stage hypnosis that is as funny as stage hypnosis. It's a very unique style show. And unfortunately, we've got generations of people now that have never seen a stage hypnosis show. So it would be a shame if that didn't happen.
Certainly. I saw Richard actually did a show there. It seemed to be in an army base there. The seats were all really wide apart. He didn't show it. I'm going, everyone's sitting with my mask on, and they're all sitting separately. And then he put everyone looking at the phones, and they're all crowded around each other, looking at the phone. Yeah. Going, what the hell's the point? It's crazy. It's just nuts. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
I think there's a certain magic when, especially during the induction part of the show, when the person leans on the person next to them. I think without sounding all woo-woo, I think it transfers that energy and gives a certain comfort. And when that person leans on that person, I think it just helps them go into a deeper state. It helps them let go.
100%. Yeah, that's the great thing about the ships and stuff. That everyone leaning, if you can't pull a show off on a cruise ship, there's something seriously wrong with you. They're all on holidays, for goodness sake. Yeah. So
how was the? You mentioned about being nervous about that first show. how did you find? We've had a couple of responses from people that have done cruise ships. I know my personal response on it. On some people say doing shows on cruise ships is easy because they've got nowhere else to go. I disagree. I think because of the production value, people's expectations of the act quality on cruise ships is out of this world. You know, people's expectations when they watch a show now on ships, they want the world's best. So I don't think cruise ships, I love cruise ships. I don't think they're easy shows. What's your experience? How do you think the transition going from a mainland show to a sea show?
Yeah, as I said earlier, Grant, I ended up with a very polished show. When I started seeing all the shows ships, I got new graphics, new sound effects.
Yeah,
you know, I was sound effects maybe in the first show but maybe taken from audio tapes. You know, it might have been a bit of, you know. So everything's now digital. It's like it's all the art iPad. It's boom, 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 boom. I mean, I raised the game. I know I did, and I got 17 gigs in the 1 year, so obviously they liked it, you know. So it's cruise ships it makes you up your game certainly, but they're not easy. You're 45 minutes, and not 46 or 47. Although sometimes I find you go over because of the quality of the show, and you know it's the type of the show. So I was getting some of the directors would say, you know, 50, 55, don't worry, you know. So it's a tough one to do in 45, I found. And that was my why I was nervous was I have to get this over in 40. My normal warm-up routine is 15, 20 minutes before I bring anyone on stage, tell jokes and get fun, do a few tricks and things. So that was gone. So I was nervous about that. But I found I had it down to, funny enough, just on the last cruise I did, the guy goes, geez, that's incredible. I can walk out on the ship now, on stage, and within 5 minutes I'm in my first routine. And then I get a load done. So I mean, you know, they either up for it or they're not. Simple as that, you know. What's the point in talking all the nonsense? You know. So that's the way. That's just been brutally honest.
So what's next for you? So we just got a question there. How many routines would you fit into a 45-minute show? Says Jason Simmons.
Jason, right? That's what I was saying there, about 20. Yeah, just because I got the first few ships I'd done, I still was taking 10, 15 minutes to get into it. You know, and next thing you look and geez, I've only 15 minutes left here. And you know yourself, it goes like that. So I was getting my first routine within 5 to 8 minutes. And then I just had a set routine, 2:45 minutes, you know. And I was getting about 18, 20. But I always give the sound guys at least 25. I say I might do that, might not, just skip over, you know, give them keywords and had the sound cue and everything. I was really enjoying it.
I mean,
I'd perfect it.
You know, the best stages in the world. Fantastic crew, the team, everything. It is brilliant. So what have you been doing in lockdown? You know, everyone the world stopped. We all went a bit crazy. What did you do?
Yeah, believe it or not, Grant, this week last year, when it happened, right? I got into Forex trading. Totally knew nothing about it. Someone mentioned it to me and I went, you know what? I have a lot of time on my hands, and I'm not just saying this, I'm making 10 times more money now than I ever made in my life. Doing something completely new, completely different. Without bragging or boasting, I bought myself a new Range Rover last week. I bought my daughter a new Mercedes for her birthday today.
Nice.
I could never have done that. Stage hypnosis has been very good to me, but this new thing I'm doing now is just mind-blowing. I'm not pitching here, by the way. But, so I have found I'm very, very lucky. If you read books on, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to have more of what you have.
Yes.
But we're all too busy making a living to do alternative things. So I had no choice. So I got into this, and that's why I'm saying I don't know if I will put foot stage on again, put my foot on the stage again, but I am been very choosy. I'm refusing shows left, right, and center. I don't want them to earn a living. So that's what I got into. Nothing to do with stage hypnosis, but I'm enjoying that as well. It's something different, and now I can pick and choose the shows I want to do. I'm charged what I want to charge. You either won't, don't, and if you do, you're going to pay a price. That's it.
Brenda says, perhaps I need to get on that boat.
Brenda, I actually reached out to you that last year and said I found something. Take a look at it. If you remember, I think maybe you too, Grant, did I?
I don't know actually, but I know I kind of got into a bit of crypto, so
Yeah, crypto, crazy stuff.
Oh, it's completely volatile, and it stops me from sleeping some nights because you can blink. Yeah, you can blink and you're either rich or poor. It's crazy.
That's it.
Yeah. What's your favorite show you've ever done? The one that you always the one that when you are retired and you're in your rocking chair and you're thinking back, what's that one show that really sticks in your mind and why?
The first night I sold out that big theater. 1,100 people it holds. There's actually a video of it on YouTube. You look, this young black-haired guy, It's just that the audience, again, if I've been both, the audience were eating out of my hand, and they were all young. They were all like school kids up to, there's really young 18, 30 audience type of thing, and there was 1,000 of them. And in those days we were doing the leprechaun the next day, stuff you can't do nowadays. But that was major publicity. You having them run around the town all next day like leprechauns. So it just those days were the heydays. There was that on my first ever gig in a place called the Glen Eagle in Killarney, where what was writing on it was a 10-year contract every Friday night with on huge money. And that show went down like a bomb. You either make or break show, and it went down really well. So I always remember that one as well. Those would be two favorites. And one of the cruises I did last year, where I got about 3 standing ovations during the show. It's just, again, it was just one of those ones where we had yourself, you get a couple of really good characters and they steal the show and people roaring and screaming. And then I always finish off my show with Michael Flatley's Lord of the Dance, and have done that it's always a great, Lord of the Dance show, and everyone's on their feet at the end clapping and cheering, because I'm sort of saying we're going to recreate the show, and Michael Flatley always he goes, I guess everyone stands up and claps, so you're sort of forcing the stand ovation onto them, but they all go for it. And up, and the cruise director comes out, he sees everyone standing clapping at the end, he's happy, and it's a great, powerful piece of music. So yeah, those shows are fantastic, really good.
I mean, it's interesting you say about the powerful piece of music. A lot of jobbing hypnotists, and again, nothing wrong with that, a lot of jobbing hypnotists that just turn up to a venue, kind of, microphone in a bag, and the production value, creates so much into the show. The lights, the music, the atmosphere, it really makes a difference.
Watch any of my videos on YouTube, Grant, even ones on mobile phones, right? You will never see me stand looking for a cue. There's always a sound engineer. I always, even to weddings, I bring a sound guy.
Wow.
Always, because it just, I don't know anyone else does, because, the budget isn't as big, but I just say, look, here's a show. I'm charging this price because I bring a sound guy. I bring a professional sound system. And do you want a really, really professional show on your big day, or do you want to save 150 quid less by, me standing on my mobile phone hoping the queue is going to work?
Yeah.
And they all buy. So I've never, don't get me wrong, I've done a few shows where, maybe a sound guy was sick or something, but I'm never comfortable doing my own sound ever. From day one, I've always used sound guys, doormen. My show used to have 4 or 5 people as a crew. When I started out doing stage hypnosis, I did illusions as well. So it was like a magician, illusionist, come hypnotist. It was a 3-hour show, believe it or not. And then I slowly got into just hypnosis,
Yeah.
A lot easier.
Say that you did the magic beforehand. A lot of the successful people that do hypnosis, are entertainers that have done hypnosis, if you know what I mean. Knowing your stagecraft, having that patter, I think all adds to delivering a good show.
Yeah.
Speaking of a good show, I've got your show reel, I believe it is. I've not vetted it for the music, so Facebook may strike us for this. If that does happen, just come back to where we are, or come and find us. We will be back here. Facebook has a terrible habit of even if you own the rights to music, it will chop it. I was doing it was a thing for charity a couple of weeks ago. It was quite disgusting, actually. It was like a bush tucker challenge for Sheffield Children's Hospital, and they had me eating all sorts of disgusting things. And the sound of me being sick actually violates Facebook's terms of service, and they kept muting it.
Okay, that's
Yeah, the things you do to kind of get that stage time in. Right, we'll play this video. It's only a couple of minutes long, and I shall see you on the other side.
right. Okay.
What you gonna do if you find him?
I'm gonna kick his ass.
You should have. I'm gonna use his balls for you. Ladies and gentlemen.
It's not.
Ladies and gentlemen, every time I slide my bike, he's doing the other. Did you do something? Oh my God, you got your hose on fire! Come on, sing it! Okay, sorry, this is ladies, the execution in the rock, I can tell. Thank you very much for volunteering. Wonder who did that.
There we go. Brenda Case says that is a great demo video, Adrian Knight. It really, do you know what? Everything that should be in a show reel, that was a great example of it. So, yeah.
Even Justin Trance says it's one of the best he ever seen, and he doesn't normally give me any compliments.
Yes. It's a lot of, especially like hypnotists watching this, that are fairly newish to this. And I need to redo my promo stuff, a lot of it. It shows one of the most important things. A lot of times when stage hypnotists edit their own promo reels, they focus on the volunteers doing the crazy things. And that's important, but bookers don't necessarily want to see that. What they want to see is the audience. They want to see you, and they want to see the audience having a great time. Because if you see that, they go, that's what we want in our venue. They don't care about the subject on stage as such. They care about people being entertained and having a great night. So yeah.
The other thing is to make your routines where the people are speaking and talking, and a lot of people, playing instruments. Like you do all these routines and the people they're just doing their mime acts. They're not talking, they're doing things. Another thing, I mean, a lot of people say to me, how do you get them to come out with such funny expressions and sayings? And I'm going to be a first, like, we're all hypnotists on here. I am a hypnotist come ventriloquist because I'm putting the words in their mouth. If they, give them, say, what's that horrible smell? You go, tell them it's, I'm literally giving them the information, because
that's why I love a handheld mic. Back in the early days, I used to love it. I used to love one of these, but the problem is a handheld mic gives me vocal control. If I want to deliver a suggestion, I can bring it closer. It has more of an impact. And if I want to, exactly like you said, then if I want to prime them to react, I can literally just come off mic, tell them, and then come back on. And as far as the audience is concerned, that person has done something spontaneous and it's hilarious.
We're there to entertain. We're an entertainers, first of all, hypnotists. We use hypnosis to entertain. And somebody says to me, how come that guy said the same thing? Even my own sound guys didn't cop on for months that I was prompting them. They all say nearly all the time, So don't be ever afraid to prompt someone. look, hypnosis is all about suggestion. You're just suggesting for them what to say to make it fun.
It's ramping it up. It's taking that suggestion and making it, getting more of a reaction out of them. Like you said, they can be hypnotized and not moving, and that's a dull show. You know, they can be very light, but if they're very animated, it's a great show.
Yeah.
I always ask this as well. If you were to give yourself a younger you or a new hypnotist that's looking at doing either cruise ships or big theatres, if you were to give them one nugget of advice, and not the stuff you read in books that everybody puts out there, one nugget of advice that you wish you'd been told, what would that be?
Someone started out in the game.
So
nowadays, don't bother.
Get into Forex.
What's my word of advice? Seriously, bring a sound man with you and make it professional.
Yeah.
Don't be another guy with a mobile phone hoping that it's going to work and Bluetooth lets you down. And, you know, pay a guy 50 or 100 quid and put it on the top end and charge extra. Bring a sound guy with you. That's my biggest advice.
I mean, I do both, depending on the client's budget. But I lose sound people because the problem is it's one of two things. One, they either learn how to do the sound really well and then they want to go off and do it themselves, which is fine. Or like Alan, you know, anyone that knows me knows I love Alan to death. He's like my brother. But I would always give them so much abuse with the volunteers, as in get the volunteers to give him abuse, which has always got a great laugh out of getting them to kind of pick on the sound man. That Alan no longer does my shows.
Another thing I can't stand, and a lot of hypnotists do it, is go, okay, go faster, go, one, go, come on, faster. God, I can't stand that.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys do it, you know. But listen, there's different. It's just that's my personal thing. But there's different people do different things, and everyone thinks.
Asking if you do virtual shows now.
Oh no.
No, I mean, I've done talks, I've done some demonstration stuff, but as far as entertainment shows go, I don't think it works. There's a couple of guys that are doing it, and you know, I know two that are doing well from it. But like we were saying earlier, I don't think it's not the same. The magic, the energy, it's not there via Zoom.
It's a live stage show. That's it. It's not. I mean, I don't know if you're aware, Grant. You see it on YouTube. I did a hidden camera show years ago.
Oh.
Using hypnosis, right? And we were revamping it again. And we did 8 weeks filming, and the company went bust in the recession. So if you type in Adrian Knight Hypnotist, you'll see it was done about 15 years ago. It was a hidden camera show using hypnosis.
Nice.
It was RTE television as a one-off special, and then on the back of it we got an 8-week series that never actually happened. We were supposed to revisit it again before COVID, so I don't know. The concept was pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, I've mixed emotions about stage hypnosis on TV. I believe it's meant to be live, and on TV is great for selling tickets at theatres. It's great for bookings when You're Back in the Room came on. You know, the phone and email was going crazy about people doing it, but yeah. I think not done right. It can look too fake because TV people want it to look perfect. And I find sometimes when that person is struggling with the suggestion, I think that can be more dramatic and more entertaining than the somnambulist that's just go straight into it. So, but yeah, if you get a TV gig, then it's it's great for ticket sales.
The other thing was when I started out doing hypnosis, about 6 months after I started, Paul McKenna had his television show, and it propelled me into stardom in Ireland because everyone wanted to go see a hypnotist, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, his show did me the world of good, you know. But he doesn't do them anymore, so there you go.
I must admit, it's weird, like, you know, with social media being what it is now, the amount of people that have never seen a stage hypnosis show, and like comments I get on some videos where people are like, you've paid these actors fake, and the trolls are such. But I love it because it's a great way of getting people asking that question and get curious about whether it can actually, you know, work on them. So, yeah.
On a cruise ship, those all paid actors, they go, yep, this show cost the cruise line company about 25 grand to put on tonight. They flew them all from all over the world and put them up in the cabins, and crazy.
Oh, yeah, it is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm one of them. I've never seen a show. Natasha Stanley, she's never seen a stage hypnosis show.
Right.
Bless her. Well, we will arrange that at some point. Adrian, I always ask as well, if you were to recommend two books, whether it be business books, hypnosis books, or your own books, if you were to recommend two books, what would they be?
Secret.
Yeah.
Okay, and The Power of Now.
Yes. Is it Eckhart Tolle?
That's it. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the one.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm reading The Power Now. Weirdly, I saw The Secret is on Netflix the other night.
Yes.
And I put it on and I thought, oh, I'll watch this again. And when I watched it, I'm like, wow, this is very shopping channel. So
read the book and make up your own mind about things.
Yeah.
You know? I'm a big believer in the law of attraction.
Yes, I do a live stream on Sundays, which is very much involved in that, about putting good energy out there and doing good things, really, about good intent. So thank you very much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Yes, hopefully things will get back to fairly normal-ish soon. Thank you very much. What I'll do is I shall bring up I'll bring that up there. That should actually bring into the comment section Adrian's website. Maybe it has. There it has. Oh, look at that. See, we're trying new things. It's just put your link up on Facebook and YouTube. So, Adrian, thank you very much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure, and you take care.
No problem, Grant. Take care. And I can't see who's on or anything. So good luck to everyone.
No worries.
Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.